What's good, gang? I'm back with the homie Nick, Fat Electrician. We're here today with a Fat Files video, and this one's titled Pablo Escobar's Hippos Might Cause the Apocalypse. The fuck does that mean, Nick? I'm asking you, bro. What does that mean? We got Pablo Escobar, one of the most, if not the most, notorious drug lord in world history. Hippos. Why would Pablo's name be right next to the word hippos? I don't know. But it makes us assume that Pablo Escobar owned hippos. Hippopotamuses, y'all. All right? And those said hippos might cause the apocalypse. These fucking hippos are apocalyptic. That belongs to drug dealer Pablo Escobar. All right, Nick. Fuck it, bro. Because I could sit here and talk for an hour about this goddamn title. But I'm not going to do that. Just learn me what the hell hippos got to do with Pablo, that got to do with the apocalypse. Let's rock, brother.
So I did a video last week over on my main channel, Band of Beavers, when America airdropped beavers into the woods to save the environment, and I was like, wow, that was a pretty funny video. I wonder if there's any other funny conservation stories. So I looked into it, and yeah, there are. Today we're talking about Pablo Escobar's cocaine hippos that are currently messing up the ecosystem in Colombia, threatening the entire Amazon rainforest.
Okay, so the motherfucker do own hippos, okay?
Yeah, there are. Today we're talking about Pablo Escobar's cocaine hippos that are currently messing up the ecosystem in Colombia, threatening the entire Amazon rainforest, and
the thumbnail does speculate that these hippos were on cocaine.
That Colombia also can't get rid of because some court in the United States granted cocaine hippos personhood, which is potentially groundbreaking legal precedent. Yeah.
Right.
Nicholas, did you get a beer vending machine?
Maybe.
Why?
For the home gym downstairs.
What home gym?
Crandall Fitness sponsored the video and gave us a home gym.
Well, we have a gym membership.
Well, first of all, I want to be able to lift weights the way the Lord intended.
Don't look at us like that, Nick. Whenever it's crazy, I get that. My grandmother, if you bent over to pick something up in front of her, she'd tell you, hey, don't fucking look at me like that. Don't look at me like that. She mean don't put your ass in her face. She don't give a damn if she 19 feet away. Hey, don't look at me like that. What the rights wrong with you? Nick.
That's disgusting. You should wear clothes.
Home gym's already ruined. Anyways, Crandall Fitness, small business based out of Texas. They have a couple of employees. It's ran by a husband and a wife that were mad during the pandemic that they couldn't go to the gym and they couldn't really afford any nice gym equipment. So they decided to design and have their own made so that normal people can afford fancy home gyms and not have to worry about their gym being closed. The equipment's high quality. I don't know, it's heavy. I pick it up, I put it down. It hasn't broken yet. What else more could you possibly want? Anyways, I'm gonna have a link and a discount code down below. Go check out Crandall Fitness. Let's get back to the video. All right, from the top, Pablo Escobar. He's the #1 drug kingpin of the 1980s, if not of all time. Under his reign, I guess you would call it, his cartel was responsible for about 80% of the cocaine globally, and they were making about $22 billion a year, of which Pablo Escobar was profiting $60 million a day to himself. Pablo Escobar was making so much money selling nose beer that he was actually listed as the 7th wealthiest.
God damn it, Nick. Wait a minute, bro. If y'all been watching, y'all know, I don't know, maybe I'll talk about this more on my comedy channel because drugs are involved in those comedy bits more than Nick. But my father, may he rest in peace, man. My father was an avid cocaine user. My boy, my dad, the reason I'm like I am, bruh, I ain't never heard. Nick has hit me. I done heard some terms to describe cocaine, but nose torque. And what my boy Nick just say?
Pablo Escobar is making so much money selling nose beer that
Nose beer? Nose torque, nose beer. I ain't heard him. I ain't never heard him, Nick. I got seniority over you, bro. I got some age on you, and I ain't never heard that shit. Thank you. I'm telling my uncles, y'all still on that nose torque? Huh? That's what y'all on? Y'all still on that nose beer? That nose beer get you lit, don't it? Get your nose drunk, get your sinuses drunk, don't it?
$50 million a day to himself. Pablo Escobar is making so much money selling nose beer that he was actually listed as the 7th wealthiest man on the planet in Forbes for like a decade. And it's hard to comprehend how much money that actually is, but to give you an idea, according to Pablo Escobar's son, when he was a little kid, they were camping one night and they didn't have any firewood, so Pablo Escobar burnt $2 million in cash so that they could make some s'mores.
I haven't had anything yet,
We've
so
heard
how
that
can I have
all.
some more of nothing? You're killing me, Smalls.
Okay, this man was spending $2,500 a month on rubber bands to hold all of his $100 bills together. That's how much money this guy was personally making. This guy made so much money selling nose torque that he didn't even have anything to buy anymore, so he just started spending all of his money on whatever he could get his hands on. By the time he was done, he owned 141 houses, 142 planes, 20 helicopters, and 32 yachts.
I'm rich,
And at some point along this spending extravaganza, he's like, I guess I'm just going to start collecting rare, wild, exotic animals because there's literally nothing else I can spend my money on. He had a rhino, he had an elephant, he had a giraffe, he had a bunch of exotic birds, and one of the things that he smuggled in was 4 baby hippos, 1 male and 3 females. And as those hippos grew and matured, Pablo Escobar may or he may not have fed people to them based on their ethnic background, or at least that's what the Netflix TV shows led me to believe.
Si me apendejaba, si me iba a echar ahí con los hipopótamos esos.
Hipopótamos tampoco les gustan los mexicanos.
Either way, fast forward to 1993, Escobar's compound gets raided, it all gets turned over to the Colombian government, and they have
My
to...
boy had a plane at the entrance of the compound. Having a plane at the entrance of the compound is crazy.
Fast forward to 1993, Escobar's compound gets raided, it all gets turned over to the Colombian government, and they have to figure out what to do with this entire zoo that this man has living in his private compound, and pretty much all of the animals get turned over to either zoos or sanctuaries. All of them except for the 4 hippos, and I can hear the comment section already. Buh! That doesn't make any sense because if you can transport an elephant, why can't you transport a hippo? Buh! Okay, look, I understand your logic going into this. That's a big-ass animal. That's a big-ass animal. If you can move one, why can't you move the other? Simply put, it's because elephants and other large animals can be reasoned with. You know what I mean? You can roll up on an elephant and be like, hey, chief, proposal, how about I give you some peanuts and you get your big ass on the truck? And they're gonna be like, okay, I'll walk my big goofy ass ears up on the truck for you. You can't reason with a hippo, all right? Hippos are territorial assholes that will kill you for no other reason than the fact that you got a little bit too close for their liking. They are the deadliest animal on the planet, responsible for killing over 500 people per year. Buh! But I still think they're kind of cute. Buh. Okay, first of all, no, it's not. Objectively speaking, it looks like Voldemort fucked a grizzly bear, okay? Secondly, there's nothing cute about this animal. It's absolutely horrifying, okay? You're like, oh, it's chubby and it's cute. No, it's not chubby, okay? It is almost 4,000 pounds of straight muscle and bone. Hippos are so dense, they can't float, okay? Are you picking up what I'm putting down right now? Hippos can't swim. Most people are probably hearing this for the first time. No, they sink to the bottom of the river and then they run along the bottom of the river, and then when they get out of breath, they jump up, get a breath, and sink back down again.
No, that's not really how that work. That's how that work? Wait a minute. What the fuck was God thinking when he made them motherfuckers? Bruh, make it make sense, big bruh. Make it make sense. They sink to the, but nah, Nick, somebody debunk that for me, man. Somebody debunk that for me. Ain't no way you telling me them hippos in that water all that damn time and all they doing is slick drowning. Nah, bruh.
this for the first time. No, they sink to the bottom of the river and then they run along the bottom of the river, and then when they get out of breath, they jump up, get a breath, and sink back down again. Okay, and just so we're all on the same page, 4,000 pounds is bigger than most cars. Like a Toyota Corolla is like 3,000 pounds. This is literally a semi-aquatic muscle tank that's got 12 to 18-inch stalactites for teeth that maxes out at 19 miles an hour on foot, okay? It's absolutely horrifying. This animal is so unstoppable. It has no natural predators. You can make an argument that when they're a baby hippo, they might get eaten up by alligators or lions, and that does happen once in a while. But even then, there's accounts of alligators letting baby hippos chew on them like chew toys when they're teething, because the alligators know at this point that if they hurt the baby hippos, all the full-grown hippos are going to dismantle them. Once hippos reach maturity, there's absolutely nothing that can kill them. Okay, you can get on the internet and find videos of a pride of lions attacking a single full-grown hippo, like lions on the hippo's back biting it, and the hippo's just walking towards the river completely unfazed because it's not even hurting him. The only thing that kind of regulates the hippo population in Africa is the dry season, because once the rivers and the ponds dry up, the hippos can't survive. Okay, do you understand what I've just told you? This animal is so fucking gangster. The only known predator it has is the dry season. Literally, the only thing capable of taking it out is Mother Nature with a natural phenomenon. Sorry, we're unhinged at this point, but my point is, you're not getting the hippos on the truck to move them if they don't want to be moved, and hippos don't want to be moved. They want to be left alone to do hippo things, and that's what's going to happen. So all these Colombian Special Forces guys that broke in and raided Escobar's compound are like, I guess we're leaving the hippos here. And then over the course of the next couple years, either somebody just let the hippos out, or the hippos broke out into a nearby river system, and they've been living there ever since. Okay, now fast forward 30 years from 1993 to 2003, they know of 170 of these hippos, and there could be more out there. So the hippo population in Colombia is growing exponentially, and it's estimated to reach 1,000 hippos by 2030 if we don't do something about it. And this is an environmental disaster, not just because the hippos are dangerous to people, but because the hippos poop in the body of water that they reside in, and their poop is so toxic that it creates this algae, and these large cultures of algae start floating around the top of the water, and this algae actually eats all the oxygen out of the water, which kills off all the fish, and not having fish kills off all the birds, and it's fucking up the entire ecosystem in Colombia. And there's nothing to stop it or even kind of slow it down because there's no dry season in Colombia, which means that pretty much every hippo born in Colombia is living out its entire lifespan of roughly 50 years, and every female hippo gives birth to roughly 7 other hippos, and their population is going to continue to grow exponentially until some of them are forced to move into other areas of water. And if those hippos make their way into the Amazon rainforest, we're all fucked, because the Amazon rainforest is one of, if not the biggest ecosystems on Earth that helps stabilize the climate of the entire planet, because it stores 200 billion tons of carbon. And if we mess up that ecosystem, it could have planetary-wide implications, and who knows what's going to happen.
Oh God, I see how this is leading to the apocalypse. What the fuck? I see how Pablo, the word hippo, and the word apocalypse make sense. Nick, you just made this shit make sense, bruh. I see where this is going. Holy shit. Holy shit.
That ecosystem, it could have planetary-wide implications, and who knows what's going to happen. So clearly, we got to get rid of these hippos, right? We're going to have to cull and kill off all the hippos. It's the only option. It's not fair. It sucks for the hippos, but that's just what has to happen, right? Apparently wrong. In 2009, one of the hippos was being extremely aggressive towards fishermen, and the army stepped in to kill this hippo before it started killing fishermen that were trying to feed their families. And they posted a picture of this dead hippo that they had just killed named Pepe on the internet, and the planet had a fucking meltdown because the Colombian government was killing hippos. Now, obviously, when I say the entire planet, I'm being hyperbolic, and what I actually mean is a bunch of self-righteous, entitled pricks. I mean, animal rights activists from first world countries that don't actually know or understand anything about the environment or conservation as a whole, but they do know that it feels good to save animals in between sips of their Starbucks Frappuccino by bitching at people on Twitter. So, because a bunch of people whose opinions shouldn't even matter in the first place are going to be upset if Colombia kills these hippos, for the past 15 years, they've been trying to find a different alternative besides killing them in order to get rid of all these hippos. First thing they did, they tried to capture some, put them to sleep, and then neuter them.
This is Bob Barker, and have your pets spayed or neutered. I'll just die already.
It didn't go that great. Like I said, it's 4,000 pounds of muscle. And if you didn't know, male hippos have internal genitalia, meaning that it's really hard to tell male from female. And it's also very hard to neuter them because you have to cut through 4,000 pounds of muscle to get to any of the genitalia in the first place. And then the hippos didn't have great outcomes as far as surviving the surgery and being released back into the wild. So next thing we could try, we could tranquilize the hippos. And then while they're asleep, we could transport them to a zoo or a sanctuary of some kind, right? That's a halfway decent idea if you don't think about it. I mean, what happens when you tranquilize a hippo? Well, where are the hippos? First of all, they're in the water. What happens when you tranquilize something? It falls asleep. What happens if a hippo falls asleep in water? It sinks because they don't float and then they fucking drown and you can't get a 4,000 pound animal out of a river in time. So after like 10 years of trying alternative methods, 2020 rolls around and the Colombian government's just like, I mean, there's nothing.
2020 is they couldn't figure this shit out back then. 2020, that's the other day. That's the other day, y'all.
And then they fucking drowned and you
That was
can't get
just
a
the other
4,000 pound animal out of a river in time. So after like 10 years of trying alternative methods, 2020 rolls around and the Colombian government's just like, I mean, there's nothing else we can do. We're just going to have to cull and kill all these hippos. It's literally the only option without having planetary-wide implications. So naturally, a bunch of animal rights activist groups got together in the US and they sued the Colombian government because they were going to kill the hippos.
But Saul, how can I sue these people and institutions? I have no
Call,
grounds.
Saul.
Do me a favor. Let me answer that question in person. Better call Saul.
During this court case, because the hippos have never set foot in the United States of America, they literally have nothing to do with the United States in any way whatsoever, and the United States legal system has no jurisdiction over it at all. The federal judge in this court case had to declare the hippos interested persons so that they could even hear the court case in the first place. But by doing that, this judge inadvertently basically admitted that hippos have personhood, which means that they have human rights. And with the way the U.S.
Yo. Who was the genius that gave us Americans this holier than thou hierarchy? We get to decide what goes on in other countries with their animals. Like, who? So you tell me a pack of Americans actually came together to save some hippos in a whole nother country that ain't have shit to do with the United States. But then they're going to tell you, but they're going to ignore that if the hippos potentially ruin the ecosystem. They're going to ignore that, and they're going to work diligently to save these hippos that could potentially ruin all of this shit. For some reason, Americans can look past what should happen and only dwell in what they want to happen. They want to happen. You tell a motherfucker, if you cross the street, you gonna get shot. I know there's a pretty penny over there that you want to go pick up, but if you go pick that penny up, you're gonna get shot. That person's gonna try to find a way to crawl across that street and get that penny. That's just how we built, y'all. Somebody programmed us like that. Somebody. And you know what's crazy though? I wonder if it's the same programming that's in the military, because we do the same thing in the military. We go do the impossible. We do the unbelievable. We do the nah, you fucking lying. We do all of that. So I wonder if the animal Karens are a byproduct. They're like the person who was coming up with the psyop was like, damn, we know we can get people to do these kind of things, but fuck, the fallout might cause these kind of people to exist too. Fuck it, let's still do it. Fuck it, if they exist, they exist. They ain't gonna get too far. Now here we are, trying to sue the fucking Colombians over some hippos that ain't got nothing to do with us. Over some hippos that might fucking take us out. All right, I get it.
And the United States
it.
legal system has no
Fucking love
jurisdiction
America.
over it at all. The federal judge in this court case had to declare the hippos interested persons so that they could even hear the court case in the first place. But by doing that, this judge inadvertently basically admitted that hippos have personhood, which means that they have human rights. And with the way the U.S. court works, once one court decides something, it sets a precedent, and all the future court cases get to refer back to it all the time, which means hippos, and potentially by extension the entire animal kingdom, could now have human rights.
Anyone can be anything!
And let's be honest, if you've made it this far into one of my YouTube videos, I know exactly where your brain just went. You're like,
Where?
holy shit, this means the hippos have the Second Amendment, and the only thing scarier than a hippo is a hippo with an AR-15.
You don't need an AR-15. Buy a shotgun.
Yes, Joe Biden, or hippos with shotguns. I don't care. Hippos with guns are terrifying. Now, obviously, that's ridiculous and silly, and we're just joking around. However, what you should actually be concerned about is the potential that next time you accidentally, hit a deer with your car, now your friendly neighborhood tree hugger environmentalist can take you to court and try to have charges pressed against you for vehicular manslaughter because you didn't just accidentally hit a deer, you killed a person with your car. Because now animals aren't animals, they're people, and people have human rights, and it completely upends our entire understanding of how the law functions today. Thankfully, this is probably not going to end up happening. I read through a bunch of actual lawyers and legal scholars analyzing this, and their conclusion is that it's kind of a bullshit technicality and it shouldn't ever set a precedent. However, shouldn't still implies that it kind of sort of might one day, which is horrifying. But U.S. law and precedent aside, it's affecting the Colombian cocaine hippo situation because it's putting a ton of political pressure on the Colombian government. Now, in order to fully appreciate what is going on here, you really got to put yourself in the Colombian politicians' shoes, right? On one hand, you've got an environmental disaster with potentially planet-altering implications that's being instigated by cocaine hippos from Pablo Escobar. And on the other hand, the United States, the country whose military budget is literally twice the size of your nation's GDP, just came out of left field and they were like, oh, hey, by the way, the hippos in your country, no other hippos and no other animal in the planet ever, for that matter, has ever been considered a human. But the cocaine hippos in your country, we consider them to be people now. And the Colombian government is like, what the fuck does that even mean? If we cull these hippos to save the world, are you guys going to consider that a genocide? Or what's going to happen? You're going to put an embargo, quit doing business with us, wreck our entire economy over some hippos? What? And that's pretty much where we're at today. Nobody really knows what's going on. The Colombian government doesn't really know what to do because everybody's too busy arguing about the moral and ethical dilemma of killing off hippos/people while the hippos are in the background pooping all over the rivers and the ponds, killing off all the fish and the birds, destroying the ecosystems of Colombia and potentially by extension in the future the entire Amazon rainforest. And nobody's doing anything about it. I feel like I'm in an episode of Black Mirror. You know what I mean? Because maybe I'm simple, maybe I'm stupid, maybe I'm just a horrible person and I don't see the value in all animals' lives in relation to saving the entire planet. However, I feel like the options are pretty simple. A, save the environment. B, give a fuck about the feelings of people that don't know what they're talking about because it will make them feel better if hippos don't die, even though they wouldn't know about it if they did. And somehow, the feelings of random people is winning while the clock is ticking down to an environmental catastrophe.
Fuck that social media. Nick just broke down social media.
The entire thing has made me lose so much faith in humanity, it's unbelievable, because I'm now absolutely certain that aliens could crash land on Earth, aliens, from the movie Alien, not intelligent life forms. Their sole purpose is to run around and kill anything that's alive. Those things could crash land and start murdering everything. And I guarantee you there would be activist groups that were protesting to make it illegal to fight back against these aliens because they have a right to live too.
I do not call them aliens because alien is a derogatory term for anything.
Oh, that's so true.
Even extraterrestrials.
That's where people are at, and it's the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. Now, my personal opinion, and this is going to show you how horrible of a person I am, I don't think the Colombian government should kill off all these hippos. I really don't, because that would cost the Colombian taxpayers money, and that's dumb. The Colombian government should issue tags and let a bunch of foreign, rich, wealthy hunters come in and kill hippos for $100,000 a piece. They'll pay money to fix the problem for you, and then you can can take all the millions of dollars that would net Colombia and put it back into preserving and helping the environment, which has been damaged by these hippos. But we're never ever going to do that because that would make sense, and making sense usually hurts people's feelings. So I guess this is just where we're at. I'm sorry, this video got way more angry and unhinged than I ever thought it would. So I guess in conclusion, this is a story about how Pablo Escobar, the drug kingpin, smuggled in 4 baby hippos into Colombia, and now, generations later, all of the hippos are somehow considered people, and they're going to destroy the Amazon rainforest, and nobody's going to do anything about it because a bunch of self-righteous know-nothings think they're helping.
Talk to me.
Thanks for watching. Best way to support the video is go buy some merch over at
I'm with you, bro.
Quack bang.
Fuck 'em.
Out. I need a fucking beer.
Talk to me.
$999.
Oh, he got his pants on.
1,000.
Wait, what? What did he say? Did he say one?
999. 1,000. I thought you said we couldn't lift naked anymore.
It's so much better this way.
Oh man, god damn, man. They fire. That's a fire couple. Bro, this is fucking ridiculous. Bro, y'all don't find it like some things, y'all know I just get to thinking. My mind thinks like I talk. It just be thinking some weird shit. But I find it interesting. Y'all don't find it interesting that these hippos, check this out, y'all. Ain't this shit crazy? These hippos eat what the environment creates. They need the oxygen and water to stay alive that the environment creates. But when they consume the environment, when they consume it and shit it out, it then becomes an enemy of the environment. That don't blow y'all mind? So you telling me that this hippo is eating shit that Mother Earth put here? Cool. Mother Nature. My ass said Mother Earth. Mother Nature. Mother Earth sound like some religious shit. Mother Nature. Mother Nature put here. And when it shits like every other fucking animal that's living in Mother Nature, that shit creates an algae that eats the oxygen that Mother Nature created and can potentially kill Mother Nature. How are y'all not finding that fucking amazing? That is blowing my mind right now. Am I looking at that wrong, y'all? Nick did just say the shit that they shit from eating the shit from the earth creates an algae that eats oxygen and could potentially eat all the fucking oxygen in the rainforest and deplete a rainforest? Yeah, bruh. I just think it's some shit we ain't supposed to figure out. And that's probably one of them. Because that shit is just like, so you create things that will destroy itself. Sounds about human, actually. Let me stop. I'm tripping. I'm looking at it like a hippo, but if you told me a human did that should have made sense to me. Cause we fucking cuckoo. Okay. I like that one. That was fire. Pablo's. That shit went from how many billions he make a year? 200 billion, however much Pablo made, 60 million a day. That shit went from 60 million a day to a hippo taking a shit to shit ruining the planet. If I had to sum up this story that I just heard. Like, comment, share, subscribe. I'm out, y'all. I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace. Okay. All right, bruh.